Revit Lab 1 gonna introduce how to install Revit on your personal computer and its interface and toolbox. So as mentioned by Dr. Ganli, we have instructional videos and gonna be released every Saturday, so you can watch by yourself. And if you have any questions during watching the video or during joining on the Revit, you can come to the lab session. So we have 4 sessions every week, and I'll be there for answering any questions you have for the lab. And at the end of the lab, your assignment is gonna be almost ready for submission. So if you follow the instructions and the slides, you won't need to spend extra time on the assignments. So we'll first introduce how to install Revit on your personal computer, and then we'll introduce some basic knowledge like how to create a new file, its interface, and we'll do some preparations for our next lab. So first, to get the free subscription for Revit, you can go to this website. It provides educational subscription. So once you go to the website, you can see Revit here, and by clicking this select, you enter another interface, and we'll just choose student subscription plans. And it asks you to fill out a lot of information to verify you are a student, and also ask you to sign in, or if you don't have a account, you need to create an account. And after submit your application, you're gonna have this interface, and then you can click Assessing Products. And you will see this interface with a Revit, and you can click Install on your to install in your computer. And this process could be a little bit longer for some computers, just need to be a little bit more patient. And a little tips here is, so we download Revit 2025, but if you search online, you can see there are a lot of different versions for Revit, and the older version cannot open the newer version file. So for example, if you create a model in 2025, but you want to open it in 2024, it cannot be achieved. So make sure you download the same version with the University Lab. And now let's go to the Revit. So once you download Revit, and it should be on your desktop, and double clicking it, you can open it and you can see the interface. If you have a different interface, it might be because they have a new Revit home here, but they don't really have many differences. And you can see here we have 2 options, models and the families. Just remember we need to create models. And since we don't have an existing model, so we need to create a new one. So click New. And every time you want to create a new project, it will ask you to choose a template. And it also provides some template for you to choose. But to make sure we have some consistency, so we provide a template on the canvas. You can download it on your own computer and click Browse to choose the place where you download your file. So in my case, I downloaded it on the desktop, and you can see it here. So this is a template file. You can see it's .rte, and let's click Open. And you can see we have the template file here, and make sure we are creating a new project. This is a template. We're using a template to create a project, and click OK. Now you can see the interface. It has 4 parts. At the very top, there's a lot of tabs. You can see architecture, structure, and view manage. We're gonna introduce some of them in the future labs. And you can see in the left is a property view, and this is your main view here. And you also have a project browser. So project browser is a very important component, and we're gonna need to access it very frequently. So make sure do not open the template directly. I know some of you might want to double click and open it. Please do not do that. We want to create a project, which is a RBT file, which is also the file you need to submit for assignment. And if you want to know more about what is a template, why we want to use a template in Revit, you can check this link. And at the very top, we have a file menu where we can save our project. So go back to Revit. You can see a file bottom here and click it, you can see save. You can also use Control S. So once you click save, you can have a file name. And in our case, we have the first name, last name with your student ID and Revit with assignment number. So assignment 1 gonna be a 1. So I won't type here, just following the rules. And click save. And if you change your name of your project, you can see it from here. And you can see this is RVT file. So I mentioned we created by a template. So with this in this template, we have some components already there. So for example, we have 2 floor plan views, 2 ceiling plans, and the 4 elevations. Also, you can see at the very bottom a lot of little icon here that very useful in some conditions, and I will introduce them in the following labs. Properties is also a really important component. So for example, if you go to East View, you can see 2 labels. And you can also tell from here, properties we are in the elevation view. If we are in the level 1, and you can see the property changes. Now it's floor plan. And also if you click something, gonna show the properties of this object. For the project browser, as you can see now, we are in the East view. So in the project browser, its name was board. And also you can see level 1, level 2, they have a corresponding name with what we have here. So Revit has some similar way to move things with AutoCAD. So you can use your wheel to zoom in, zoom out, and pan the object. And for the right bottom, click bottom, it has different options based on what you're selecting. And for the mouse techniques, different selecting methods. So for example, if you are in the east view, so from here and from here, you can see the difference. If you're from the right bottom, you will select all the components. So when a component is shown as blue, means it was selected. But from this direction, you need to cover all the components, then you can select it. But for this direction, you can only cover part of the component and you can select it. Now let's do some preparations for the project. So for each project, we can have an organization name and description and the building name. So let's copy the information and let's go to manage. And a lot of bottoms as find project information. Here we go. And you can see the organization name. You can tap U of A. And description, education. Building name, you can name your building by yourself. Any name is okay. And also your name. And click OK. And next is a very important step is creating labels. So while it's a label, you can see by default we have two labels. One is at 0 and one is at 10 feet. And if you focus on here at the very top, there is a little house icon. You can see if you put a mouse here, you can see the description of this bottom, which is a default 3D view. And if you click it, you can open a 3D view window. Right, so you can see the level is define a plane. This is level 1. This is level 2. And for Revit, the interesting thing is everything is connected. So for example, now we are in the east view, the elevation view, and this is a 3D view. If I choose the level 2 here, you can also highlight in the 3D view. So this is the level we have. And as we mentioned, the in the project browser, the name of the floor plans is corresponding to the name of the label. And this is the value of the head of the label. So since we only have 2 levels, we only have 1 floor, right? Like imagine your own house. 2 levels define 1 floor. So we need to create more levels. To do so, we can go to architecture and find the level here. And if you click it, you're gonna jump to another panel, which is modify. And you can see we have 2 options. The default one is line, using line. And the second one is pick lines. So now we don't have a drawing in our Revit, so we use the default one, which is use line to draw the levels. And if you can see here, I put my mouse here, it will automatically have a alignment line. So this function makes you draw more clean, more pretty lines in Revit. instead of drawing the inconsistent lines. So you can make sure it aligns with the other levels. And also, so now I'm not doing any clicking, I'm just moving my mouse, and you can see the dimension is changing. And at this moment, you can also type the dimension you want. So if I type 10, you can automatically input 10. And if I hit enter, and now you can see the distance between these two levels is fixed because I already inputted the dimension value. And you will have another alignment line here to make sure the head of your level is aligned with other levels. And if you left click your mouse, and you have another new level here, which is level 3. So let's do our first exercise. First, go to elevation view. So project browser, elevation view. And we mentioned every level has a name and we can change it. So first we change level 1, if you double click it, and to L1. They're gonna have a window pop up. It's the same thing we mentioned before. Do you want to rename corresponding views? Which means, do you want to change the view in here, floor plans? And we need to click yes, so we can make it consistent. And you can see the changes, L1 and L1. So let's do the same for the other levels. So change the head of L1 to 10. So now it's already 10. If it's not 10, you can change it here. So if at the very beginning I draw 12, you can click the line you want to modify, level you want to modify, and then gonna show a dimension here, right? And you can change it to 10. So one thing here is worth to mention is you need to choose the object you want to modify. So if you want this level to move, you need to click it and change the dimension. For example, if I don't choose level 3, I choose level 2, and now if I want to change the dimension, see, now it's level 2 is moving. Level 3 is not moving because I choose level 2. Okay, so finished 5, and we need to add another level called top of footing. So same thing, add texture level, create another level. Oh, we forgot to change the L3. And you can see a warning here, name entered is already in use because it automatically continue the previous name. Okay, let's change this to QF first. And then change this to L3. And one last thing, we need to make sure this -3 fit. Okay. Yeah, so your levels, you should have 4 levels now. And some of you may notice we have 4 levels, but in the floor plans, we still only have 2 floor plan views. So we add level L3 and TF, but they are not here. So how can we add the level views to our floor plans. So if we go to view here, and you can see plan views. And in the drop-down menu, you can see floor plan. So use Control to select both, and then click OK. And now you can see automatically it adds the L3 and 2F we just created before. And now we need to add some grids. So still this little icon, house icon here, and we can have our 3D view. If you drag this tab, you can move it to another place, like stack it here. Okay. So you can see we have 4 levels now, right? It's a plane. But to build a house, we want to put columns, put walls. But how could we know where to put the columns and where to put the walls? We need something to locate them. That's why we need to create grids. So let's go to L1 floor plan view. Every time I say go to some views, we will need to go to the project browser and floor plans L1. So same place, if you go to architecture, you can see the grid is next to the level. We cannot create level here because we are in a 2D plane. So we are basically in this flat surface right now, the 2D view of this plane. So that's pretty great. Click it. And you have one. And you can also see the alignment line again and create 2. So you're gonna automatically number the grid. Okay, another exercise, we need to create grids based on the dimensions. So let's do it. Okay, so now we have 1, 2, oops. Okay, so we have a different direction. The lady has a different direction from the grid here. We can change it. So if you click the grid, you can see there's a little box here. This is the option to show the bubble or not. See the changes, and if you want to be exactly the same as the figure, you can uncheck this one and check here. So between 1 and 2, we have 92 inches. So let's see. Okay. So remember again, if you want to move anything, you need to choose that object. And then you can create another grid, which is between 2 and 3 is 16, 5. And then we have ABC. So you can just double click the number and change it to A. So between A and B, It's 23, 1, and right, right, and another one. 14, over it. There we go. And how could we know we have a accurate dimension here? So we can use the annotate tools. So go to annotate tab and we have a line. So then we can measure the distance. So click one object, second object, and then move your mouse to an empty place and click it again. So simple for this, one object, second object, an empty place, one object, two object, empty place. Okay, let's check. So between A and B, 23, correct. B and C, correct. 1, 2, correct. And you can also measure the overall dimension. It's also correct. So remember, if you feel this is too long, you can drag this little dot here. See, you can drag it, and you see this little lock here. This allow you to drag the three levels to three grids together. Okay, perfect. And let's take a look at the 3D view. Remember, we are in L1, right? Which is floor 1, and if you see in the 3D view, we mentioned we are basically on the 2D surface of this plan, so you can see exactly. Yeah. And now we have the grid, we have something we can locate, measure the place we want to place the column, and we can place the column. So let's follow the instruction, go to architecture, column, and we choose architecture column. And now you can see something happening in the properties. And if you click this little drop down menu, you can see by default we have 3 types of columns. And we choose the first one. And now we are doing a lot of things because we want another dimension of the column. So we want a column size is 12 by 18, but we don't have it here. So we want to create it by ourselves. So first, in the properties, we go to edit type. We're gonna have this window pop up, and we click duplicate. So we want to make sure the name is aligned with the actual dimension. So we just change it to 12 by 18. And we click OK. So now we only change the name, but we also need to change the real dimension. So you can see dimension here. We want to change the radius to 1, which is 12 inches. And then we click apply, and automatically fill out the 0, and we click OK. So now if you go back to the drop-down menu, you can see the new dimension, new size column we created. So now we have the exactly the size we want. Now we can put the column on our based on our grid. So now you can see, if you zoom in, you can see the size of column. And you can see here we have different options, properties we can change. So one is depth, one is height. We want to use height, and we want to, so we are in there for L1, remember? And we want to the column build from L1 to L2. So for example, if I just put the column here, see it's already here. And if you click the escape key twice, you can cancel this function. And again, if you go to 3D view, you can see we have a column here. And there's something useful we mentioned before at this very bottom here. You can see there's a detail level, right? And also a visual style. So now currently we are in hidden line, which is not really pretty, and we want to change it. So let's see, we change it to shaded. And now you can see we have a column here, which is from level 1 to level 2. So it's more obvious if you go to east view, level 1 to level 2, right? Because this is what we selected. And also if you click the column here, you can see the dimension and all the properties here. It's from L1 to L2. And for some project, the column is not just right in the middle of the grid we created. So what if we have some specific offset? So in our case, we have a offset here. And how can we do that? One of the easiest ways is to use reference plane. So in Revit architecture, you can see there's a ref plane. And if you click it, so it's a green dashed line you can create. So it's the same way you draw a grid. And we just make sure the distance between this reference plane is the same as the offset. So what's the offset again? And let's copy this number and put it here. Yep, there are some issues. Okay, let's type it. Or if we type French, yeah, that's okay. Okay, we need to type it. So let's type this value here. Here we go. And if you feel this line is too thick, too obvious, you can change this style here. You can change it to thin lines. So if you click here, it can be thinner. So this distance is what we want, the opposite of what we want. You can see the dimension here. And what's next? So we want to make sure the offset is the same as the reference plan. You can use a very easy and useful function. So if you click the column, and you can see a panel here, modify, and if you see there is a line function, and you click it. And now first, you choose the plan you want to align with, okay? The plan you want to align with, which is this reference plan. And then you choose the object you want to align with the plan, which is this face. And now you can see it aligns with the reference plan. You can also change the shade mode here. And our final exercise is to create these columns. Okay, so now we have one column finished. Not yet, because we have another offset here. So we can do it again. Go to reference line, create a line here. And you can see this little dot, which gonna show you where is the start and the end point of the measurement. We need to change this to 0, 3, 1, 15. Okay. So same as before, and we click this column, modify tab, go to align, choose the surface we want to align with, and the object surface we want to make it align with the reference plan. And now here we go. And to finish this model, we can do a observation. So you can see these two is actually the same in the same location, right? Just a different grade. So we can use copy. So for example, if you choose this object and this tab here, and we can find a function called copy. And now it asks you to choose a reference point for the copy. And they have this center here. So we choose the intersection between these two grids. And now you can copy this column to here, another intersection. See? Now it's exactly the same. And you can do the others and use the copy to make your life easier. So that's all the content you need to create in this lab. And there's a FAQ. What if we accidentally closed browsers or any other windows in our project, sorry. So for example, sometimes we just focus on drawing and oops, it disappeared. So what we can do is go to view, and you can see the user interface, and you can bring it back. Okay. And same for the other windows, user interface, properties. So you do not need to submit this model for this lab, but make sure to save your work anywhere you can access. Because for lab 2, we're gonna build based on lab 1. Remember we talked about this is project preparation. So next time we're gonna create walls, windows, doors for your house. So make sure you save the work. and see you in the next lab.